Let's bring this meeting to order. Okay, approval of the November 6th meeting minutes from Paul. Everybody had a chance to check them out. Any corrections, updates? Do I hear a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Let me take a very quick look.
Who moved to approve? I can't. Dave M.
So Mike, you
Just taking a quick look. Yeah, it looks fine.
okay? So all in favor, raise your hand.
Was there a second?
There
Oh
was.
yeah, we didn't have a second. Did we have a second?
I second.
All
Okay.
right, so Mike seconds. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, the minutes are approved. Let's see. Yeah, some minor updates to the agenda. I don't know if I got everybody a copy of that, but we've added the Valentine planning. We've also, there was a note from Elliot about the COVID protocol. Wanted to see if perhaps we need to update that. And then the VIH library status. So we'll cover those in the new business area. All right, so treasurer's report.
Very little treasure activity this month. There was a $20 payment I made way back a couple of months ago for a raffle at the cabaret. We didn't have a raffle at the cabaret. We had an auction. So I got that money back.
Yay!
$20.
Every
It's
little
the
bit
little
helps.
victories.
We got all of $7.77 from Google. And we paid $98.94 for a meetup subscription. So that's it. So we have a total in the bank of $22,688.03.
Could you repeat that, please?
Which part?
The number,
Which part?
not just the number, 22 something.
22,688.
688. It's on the treasurer's report.
Oh, okay.
And Dave, do you want to go over the budget changes?
You want to do that now or?
Yeah, why don't we do that now?
Okay. Can you let me share screen?
Sure, let's see.
Yeah, one thing, I also have some late breaking budget proposal changes that I'll cover in my report. So
Okay,
Okay.
Late breaking news. It
Late
sounds
break.
like, wow, that's impressive.
or just late.
Okay, here's a new budget, including what I have from Dave as far as music goes. And some of the numbers on income up here may change as we discuss, like, for instance, Valentine. You know, I've got a minimum number here, but if we discuss it later, we might want to increase it because we made a bunch of money in the past from Valentine's, as you can see over here. If we're going to go into more, provide more Valentine's, then we can increase this number as far as income goes. I've got show profit right now. That show is the spring show, and maybe I should change that over here to say spring show, just so everybody knows what we're talking about. That I now have is 2,000. I have cabaret, which is the fall show. I have is 3,000. That's going back to the way we used to do it in the past.
Where we had two shows and. in the
Exactly,
day,
where we
yeah.
had two shows and a lasagna dinner. And so I've got 3,000 for that. Assuming we can do all of that with the COVID issues. And then Benevity is, we're down, the Google employees are down we gotta recruit more Google employees, but hey, we had quite a bit of income from Google in the past. The actual in 2020 was 5,000. The actual in 2021 was 1,100. So, and then Harmony Foundation, I kind of left as it has been. These are the numbers that I have now gotten from Dave Kay so far from music. And they may change as we discuss more of, you know, at the meeting today. Other than that, I haven't changed a whole lot. Right now then, given what numbers are, we're gonna lose about $2,000, 2,200.
Yeah, so what I can say is that according to my draft budget, the chapter development would go from 500 to 2,000. And we can talk about that, but
Okay,
so
so
picture, but
so maybe what we want to do is defer the budget discussion until after, at the end, after we discuss some things.
Makes
Sure.
sense.
Sure. So we'll defer it to the end of the reports. All right, thanks, Dave. Chapter development.
okay, yeah. Sorry, guys, for the last minute. I'll share my screen so that I can. Yeah, so can everyone see that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, Meetup is continuing to work for us. In the
That's
past
amazing.
month, we've had 2 new attendees, both of whom seem pretty interested. Harsha, you know, was here last night. Prashant has gone back to India for a few weeks, so we expected him to be missing. Earlier guests, there have been a few that attended a single session, seemed really interested, followed up with the virtual guest book and forwarding of rehearsal plans, but I just haven't heard back from them. Michael Noor was one, and Will Ta was another one. I don't know if you guys remember them, but they were there one night. They also came through. Well, actually, I'm not sure if they were Meetup. But anyway, I've tried.
How about Mike Sherman? What's his, does he
I've
know
reached-
that we're doing things maskless and stuff like that?
Yes, I have reached out to Mike Sherman several times and
Okay.
have not recently heard back from him.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll keep working on that. And I think there's also a need for or reach out to members. One thing I'm thinking, it's not in the report here, is that I probably need to put together a bit of a chapter development team to do things like occasionally calling out to people and stuff like that, because I'm finding it a little bit overwhelming with everything else that I've been doing on this. Any volunteers?
No, there's a lot of guys in the group that could or should be able to work with you on this, Elliot, because it's you're absolutely right with all the activity that you have assumed responsibility for. Then having some team members is absolutely great, and I'm confident there are 2 or 3 guys in the group who would not have any problem assisting you.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you know, one of them's probably Jerry. I can speak with him about that. Another possibility is members at large, in case one or two of them may be interested. But okay, we get to that.
You've got me too.
Sorry, who was that? All right, Larry, great.
You know
It's
you've got
like,
me,
you
Elliot.
know,
Yeah,
I've got you, babe.
Yeah.
Hey, I like it. We're gonna do a little Sonny and Cher now, right?
I was gonna save it till the marketing report, but yeah,
Oh.
you can definitely count on me, Elliot.
All right, cool. That's great. And Larry has already been much of a partner because I think we overlap quite a bit. Part of the marketing, I think, overlaps significantly with my efforts. So, yeah, looking at attendance for the past 4 weeks, we've averaged 29, gone as high as 31 last night. And I decided to take a look like at the last 9 rehearsals that I had logged, because, there are a lot of people that, every time there are people missing. So I figured we're actually doing better than, let's say, 29. So one view is of the last 9 rehearsals, if I look at people who've attended at least 6, we've got 30, and at least 5, we've got 34. So I think that's kind of promising looking. I think, there's been a lot of disruption, Thanksgiving, holidays. So hopefully that can settle out into something a little better. And an example, like there are some people that aren't in this number. For example, Mark Tabry, he was only at 4 of the past 9, but we know that, he's an active member of the quorum. So, yeah. In terms of VIH transfers, so far we've officially had 5. Nat joined us a little while earlier, and more recently it's been Rich, Nathan, Larry, and Mark Wilson. Also, Mark Torrance mentioned to me that he had encountered some difficulty, so I'm going to work with him and also reach out to other prospective transferees. Kurt, I don't know if you're Curtis. I don't know if you're aware of any people who've expressed the desire but haven't been able to.
Nobody's expressed that to me as of this point here. I know there's a couple more people that Greg K has said he wants to come over, but he's got he's trying to take care of his wife at the moment. So I think once her health improves, he may be back. And I had lunch with Larry Weiss about a week ago, and he's got a granddaughter that he's taking care of, but they may be moving. So once they move, he may be back.
Oh,
Looks like he's already done the transfer of
He's done the transfer.
membership, but he hasn't been able to attend. What
Yeah.
about Danny?
Danny Burns, yeah.
Yeah. What about this guy? What's his name? The Kurt something? I mean,
Oh.
Yeah, him. Is he? He's got a.
All
Is he
right,
off the pot, or what's going on here?
Here's the situation.
I think Elliot needs to contact him a couple times.
I think
probably
so.
somebody needs to contact
I'll try and
him.
reach out to him.
Here's the situation with that guy, and honestly, it's probably more in my own mind than anything. My membership actually lapsed about, I think, in August, and so to renew, I can go in and renew online, but it's going to renew me back into VIH. And so what I'd like to do is get that renewal straight into Peninsularis. Is all I need to do is make that phone call to the office, Elliot?
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because a transfer, I mean, if you want to take care of things in one fell swoop.
That's it exactly.
I think each of them can be initiated by you, and
okay.
An email to
Customer service.
Customer
service.
Yeah, that works better. Trying to call them real time is difficult. They don't respond. You go to voicemail.
And they're
Okay.
pretty responsive.
All
Yeah.
right, then I'll tell you what, that guy Curtis, I'm going to tell him to mute himself and email right now, and he'll give you the thumbs up as soon as it's done.
Okay,
Awesome.
that's great. Yeah,
Okay.
Seriously, one of the things that we're trying to make sure of is that we don't have any more like income into VIH. And because I let mine lapse, I was like, okay, so I probably should have just asked the question. And then what happens is I forget.
Okay, and
you're forgiven.
it sounds like I should also reach out to Danny, see what's going on there.
Elliot, is Curtis, what Curtis just mentioned triggered a thought to me. Is there any way I don't know, maybe Curtis would be able to access this as a VIH person, but is there any way to identify any other potential transfer members who may be in a similar situation that Curtis is, so that the dissolution of VIH does not result in somebody trying to renew that brings in funds that they don't want to deal with right now? Do we have any other sense of that? Curtis, you might know.
We're having a meeting on Tuesday night. So I can put the question out there and see where we're at.
Okay.
Say, Elliot, should I be getting some badges for those 5 new guys? Or?
Well, so the badges, I think, go to members, right? That's the point.
But aren't Rich, Nathan, Larry, and Mark?
Oh, I see. Right. I'm sorry. I was thinking guests when you mentioned that. Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully by the end of this meeting, there will be another badge.
Can I ask a question about badges? We don't need no stinking badges, right? The question is, I've noticed different groups have a different choruses, barbershop choruses have different configurations of badge. I mean, the item itself looks different. The ones that the VIH guys have, when they have showed up and said, here's who I am, and they had their badge on, larger, blah, blah, blah. Are there options, Paul? I know we have whatever we've been doing for as long as we've been doing it. Are there different options when you go up to place an order? How does that work?
Well, I placed an order. It's been a while, so I believe there are probably options. I just order the ones we have, unless you want something different.
Maybe that's a topic we should discuss.
Unless it was stuck in the vest or something.
What's that, Michael?
I don't have a badge unless it was like hidden in the vest pocket or something.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, I have a comment on
Harry,
that.
Harry, do you have a badge?
Yes, yeah, I have a badge.
I must have got you a badge, Mike. I'll check. Well, I don't
Okay.
know.
So John, you had a question?
Yeah, and I had a comment on that. When I ordered the badges, the format is the same. The only thing that can change is the color.
oh, okay.
So it was an identical format. So there's no there's no option for artwork or anything like that. So
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so right now, apart from Meetup, which seems to more or less be running itself in terms of bringing in new people, there are 2 campaigns that I'm working on. One is getting people to disseminate brochures and business cards, at our performances, which, I know is something we've done in the past, but like really make it a concerted effort. And to sort of complete the whole picture, I'm working with Larry to update the website so that, because right now, ideally, I would like to have Meetup on the business card and on the brochure, because that's one way to getting to the most current information, what events, what rehearsals are on, that stuff, and joining that community. But right now it points to our current website. So I figure if that website can very visibly, as soon as you get to it, have a link to the Meetup and also to the COVID-19 protocol, which I think is also important, then the only thing you need to say to someone is, if you're interested, we do it every Thursday, yada, yada, yada. And for more information, just go to our website, and the URLs on both the brochure and the business card. So yeah, hopefully we can get that updated on the website. And we're going to start, handing these things out tonight in Morgan Hill. And then next door, I'm still working on that campaign. So far, I've got 7 people who've provided their neighborhoods. I'm still working on the actual material and instructions, because I want to make it as easy as possible for people to post in their respective neighborhoods. And I just sent out a reminder asking people to add their names or add their neighborhoods. Okay, membership. Shiv Pandey. He's been a candidate for a while now. I mean, this guy, he's been attending consistently. He's even performed in the Halloween show, which I thought was pretty amazing for someone pretty new. And I've seen him singing all kinds of parts, ranging from at least from Barry to tenor. And I spoke with him. He is interested in becoming a member. So I don't know if this is the right time to put this up for a vote and discuss, but it would be nice if we could make him a member.
That would be great.
So moved.
Yeah, so he's done the 3, of course, he's done the 3 meetings,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
and has he sung for Mike C?
Yeah, no concerns.
Okay. So he's qualified, so I think we ought to.
So we had a motion by Mike O.
Yeah, so I move that the board accept Shiv Pandey as a member.
I second. I'll second.
That's Larry. Okay. Any discussion?
So, I'll just say that I have stood close to him, right, on the risers, right, while he's been singing the lead part, and he has a really pleasant voice, and he is very personable. He's been singing baritone in some other quartets, like I think he sang in one of the holiday groups that we listened to the other day. He was singing baritone, so he does have some flexibility, which may be useful for us in the future. So I have not observed any negatives. I think the guy would be a great addition.
One thing I should mention, I don't think it's a concern, but he does, he's away from his family. I think they're in Pennsylvania. And he, every now and then he'll do a 2-week visit to see them. So, I asked him about how many times a year he thinks he would do that. He said, maybe once every 2 months or so. So that's kind of still an average of attending 3 out of 4 rehearsals. So if people think that's acceptable.
Yeah, we don't have an official policy on how much attendance, but like my thumb in the wind is 75%.
And I think he's pretty capable. He learns quickly. I think he'd be able to manage it and still be a productive member of the chorus.
That would impact the quartet more than it would impact the chorus.
Yeah.
Larry?
Just real quick, from a visual perspective, he's awfully fun to watch.
Yeah. Great.
He's got a lovely smile. He's fluid in his motion. So that's also a major plus in the overall ensemble, because some of us are challenged with smiling, let alone moving. So yeah, he's got that dialed in.
Cool.
That's great. All right, so we're ready to vote this young man in? All right, all in favor, raise your hand. All right. Yay,
Yeah.
All right.
another member,
I can tell him
Boom.
he was unanimous.
yes. And Elliot, have you, our new VIH transfer guys, are they now on Groupanizer as members?
Well, not only the trend, yes. I've been updating them as members. I need to double check that I've got all of them, but I think I do. So, and the rest,
Okay.
of course, are candidates.
All
Right.
right, because, yeah, because the emails go out, some of them just to members, but others to announce. as well.
I will double check. Let me make a note of that.
Good call, Dana.
Great. And then with regard to the budget, any discussion that we need to have with Elliot on that before we move on?
I have a question about what he's got down here. Under the one item it has binders. What do you mean by binders?
So binders, you know, if we're, for example, we've talked about giving new members a really nice kind of personalized binder. I mean, it could be anything.
What is a binder? What are you talking about? What do you say binder?
Oh,
I
The
think
thing that holds our sheet music.
I think of a binder as this kind of professional portfolio that you're putting,
Oh.
business stuff in.
no, I'm talking about a, you know, what are they called? 3-ring
Three-hole.
binder that,
Okay, so I have a comment on that, and that is that in the music side, we have a number of quote guest books unquote that we have regularly that have all the music in it. And when a candidate becomes a member, that becomes his.
okay.
So
You
it's
slip out
part
the-
and parcel of what goes on in the music, the VP arena. Bert manages and maintains a certain number of guest books, and when somebody becomes an official member, then they put up a sheet and it has their name on it and stuff. So I don't know that you need to worry about that component in yours. Bert, am I speaking correctly? He was here. Is he still here?
Absolutely correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
There's $500 in the budget for the music librarian.
Right.
okay. So I will strike binders from there. And, you know, to be honest, I hadn't really assigned value to the individual components, because I think we still need to figure out, you know, so like one possibility is if we wanted to somehow beef up that binder, that would be an option. T-shirts are an option, swag of some sort that we give out to guests or candidates. So, you know, I think there's a lot more stuff to be worked there, and it's kind of a number, right? Yeah, so I think it's very draft. There's probably more work to be done in terms of a specific plan that, you know, I'd probably want to discuss with people. So
I
right now,
suggest-
just a number.
So Bert, you raise your hand, Bert.
What about uniforms for these new people? Is Dave got some stuff in the storeroom, or what do we do for uniforms? They got to get uniforms quick.
Yeah, there are two things about that. One is there is still some material in store in the container that for the lavender shirts and trousers, so I can check on sizes. But the second thing is that a couple of months ago, we were talking about, I was going to look into, and I have done a little bit of research into, should we consider an adjustment to our uniform structure? And I don't have any response or any coherent information for the board with respect to that. But just to say, Bert, that topic is something that's under review.
It needs to get resolved for the new guys by our next show then.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mr.
Dave
Morley
Morley.
has his hand up. Yeah.
I would suggest then, Elliot, that maybe you've got $1,250 down for the budget for kind of right at this point, kind of an unknown. Why don't we reduce that to 500 or something like that to get a better estimate, a better feeling of, and then you know, we can change it as we go, or we can increase it next year.
Okay, I can bring that down to 500.
Yeah, and business cards and brochures typically fall into my department, so you can probably take that out of your budget as well. It's already in mine.
Okay, that's good. And the other thing I'm wondering about, how are we currently covering Meetup subscription? Because it looks like it's $98 every 6 months.
I actually put it into Office, but maybe that should probably go into your account.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What
think. Is there a fee for Nextdoor? I don't think so.
No,
I don't believe so.
I think each individual in their community like gets in on it, but I don't think they charge any. I think if you advertise on it, you have to pay an ad fee or something. But
Right. Well, the Meetup makes sense to keep that in chapter development, because that's going to be an ongoing
right.
process for new members.
Elliot, what is signage?
So I was, talking with Rich, and actually a lot of these ideas come from him. And he was suggesting that, like we really need to make it as easy as possible for guests to find us, to find their way to the restroom, for example. And so I think signs that will guide, maybe we like we have our big A-frame, maybe we can put that in front of the Elks, but, have other signs that could show here's where you go in, because, people may not always show up on time. And maybe like a sign to where the bathroom is, and that would be part of the standard setup. Again, it needs to be thought through a little better.
So there are probably 10 pegboard A-frame sign things in the shed, and all you need to do is print up the sign that says restroom with an arrow. So I think we all that sort of stuff, and even outside is for entrance to peninsula areas. If you can print it up on a 8.5 by 11 sheet, and they can be adhered to these boards. I'll show you where they are next Thursday, and then you can figure out how you want to use them.
So would you suggest I completely take that off the?
For it's going to be the price of paper and toner.
Okay, off it goes. So that leaves us with 200 for Meetup subscription, 500 for swag, t-shirts, etc. I put food. It's not only food. Again, haven't really thought through what a guest night would look like, but we'd probably want to put some money into that.
That usually goes under social,
Okay.
we could put that. Because that really benefits everybody.
Who owns the social budget?
The chapter, and essentially it's
Program?
well, it's under installation dinner / social in the budget.
Okay.
Okay. As long as we're anticipating, some effort to kind of beef things up for guest nights.
Well, why don't I put 600, maybe 700 for your budget? Would that be a reasonable number?
You're saying for the whole chapter development?
Yeah, right. Chapter development.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking at the 500 for swag, and if we transfer Meetup subscription, 200, so that would be 700.
Okay, let me do 700, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Because it sounds like the other things that you identified, Elliot, are actually covered in other people's budgets, marketing
Exactly.
and, you know, in VP music and stuff like that. So that,
Yeah.
which takes a load off of you.
Yeah, it certainly does. You know, the only thing is the swag and t-shirts. I'm not sure, you know, I looked at t-shirts and they can get pretty expensive. So if we wanted to give out t-shirts to guests, for example, and maybe that's excessive, or t-shirts, you know, maybe when they're leaving the night after, you know, they've been singing tags and everything, they look like good prospects, you know, maybe that gives them a little more ownership. So, you know, producing those in quantity brings the prices down, but it can still get pretty pricey. And there's other swag, but I think it's reasonable. Let's start with 500, and if we need to bring it up, you know, we can discuss.
And just as an aside to that, Elliot, maybe you and Larry and I at some point can just sit down and chat about what kind of things might be cool. Maybe there's something beyond an article of clothing that in today's environment might be really neat that we could have done, you know, because there's all sorts of things that people are into these days, maybe even a smartphone case or something, who knows, but we can think about that.
Yeah, or, you know, like
I was in Dallas one time and went to a vocal majority rehearsal, and I came home and I still have it. I got a pin that says I sang with the vocal majority.
Ooh,
that's a nice.
Yeah, or as Mike C said, maybe a USB stick with samples, music samples.
yeah, so there's all kinds of possibilities beyond an article of clothing, but I think that's a great thing for us to be looking at, because it does give the guests something to leave with that's beyond either a piece of paper that they're never going to refer to again, or you know, another thing to put in their clothes drawer, because, you know, but you know, for some people having a cap or thing, that's just like the cat's meow, and I totally get that. But I think having a variety of things like you're suggesting here, Elliot, is a really awesome idea.
How about an NFT?
Hey, Elliot, you have the badges in it, considered in that budget? Is that in your budget?
Sorry, the what?
The badges, that'll be might be a couple $100.
No, that kind of comes under, if you're talking about member badges, that falls under your area of responsibility, I think, Paul, not Elliot's. I think, I don't know.
I mean, as far as the budget, is it considered part of the budget? I don't know if it's in the budget. It'll be a couple $100 probably.
Dave Morley, where does it fit in the budget? Member badges.
That's a good question. I think I put it under office or program, either program or office.
So you already have it in the budget somewhere?
Yeah, I'm not sure where it is.
Okay.
It's interesting because like program seems to address the steady state of the chorus. And there's a certain, you know, to sustain the chorus without growing it, there's a certain number of things we want to do for members, you know, badges, food when we're back to normal, rehearsals and things like that. And then there's another part of that we may want to focus on guests and bringing in new people. And clearly there's an overlap between the two.
Right.
Okay. So Elliot, are you finished?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, so I've got a budget there of 700, and I think I will follow up with Larry and Dave to discuss possibilities for, you know, swag or whatever we give to new guests.
Great. Thank you, Elliot.
Okay, thank you.
Marketing report. Larry.
Much of
Excuse
nothing.
me, Elliot, could you stop sharing, please?
Oh, yes. I'm just a very generous.
Pardon me, Larry. I just...
Nothing written for marketing, but we've already discussed. Elliot's already addressed many of the things that he and I are already beginning to work on. With updates, changes, and trying to get our website more current and updated on a regular basis rather than waiting for something special to happen. And of course, working with Elliot with Meetup and the Next Door is a part of the PR aspect of what I'm trying to do. For those of you that check out Facebook, you can see that I'm continually adding posts and little ditties here and there just to keep that group of followers interested. I'd say since the cabaret, we've probably gained about 15 new followers on Facebook. So that seems to be a very strong medium, and I will continue to work with it. I wanted to just share this real quick. We talked about it last month briefly. I checked out the Big Ideas section on BHS where they have roundtables, and it wasn't live. I wasn't signed up for the live meeting. So I got to watch a recording and just listen and take notes. And there are definitely a lot of good little tidbits out there that we may be doing already, but others that maybe we did before, but we should consider trying again. And two that really jumped out at me that work for both marketing and chapter development. They offer we talked about a guest detail information form, something that we could actually do online or a physical thing. Probably online would be better. So, for example, Meetup goes out, Elliot sees somebody's interested in coming. He could then forward, as part of his invitation, his personal invitation to that person, the guest detail form, which will help build a folder, so to speak, of information from potential guests. The other one that I think is pretty cool, and it kind of falls into, well, let's take a poll, let's talk to the guys, let's see what they want, is what they're calling and this is all BHS stuff, guys, I'm not making this up. It's called the pulse check form, which basically checks the pulse of the course. Again, it's something that could be handed out. It could be something just shared online, but individuals, and it can be done anonymously, but I think it's better. It would be better if we use a tool like this so that we know who's writing what about what. And I loved the way these were presented, and I liked the freshness of them. And I'd like to look into that, something like that for us in the coming year, as well as a point that came up several times in this meeting. This one, as well as the Far Western District Roundtable that was held a couple of weeks ago, and that is really paying attention to our demographic. Yes, we would love to have youth, high schoolers, college students, but our demographic in general throughout the society is in the 50s. We're 50s and above. And in both of these meetings that I checked out, that seemed to be the common theme. It's okay to desire younger voices, but we should focus less on trying to get kids and working more towards that 50 to 55 demographic. So that's something else I have added to my little palette of things to look into in the first quarter of next year. Other than that, Elliot and I are working together on some things, trying to get Mark Tavry on the hook to work with me a little bit on our website today. Haven't heard back, Elliot, so I'm going to try. I told you if I don't get a hold of him, I'll give it a shot on my own. If I mess it up, he'll have to fix it. If I don't mess it up, I'll let you know. But one way or another, I'll get that worked out today.
Thanks, Larry.
Bet.
Appreciate it.
Any questions?
I've got a question. Well, I don't know where this fits in, but we used to do a thing where people would give like a 60 or 90-second or sort of information about themselves, you know, with all these new people, and it might be a way to, you know, get to know each other better. We just want like one or two a meeting. I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
I remember doing that.
Especially for guests who came in.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was because it gave all of us a chance to try to get to know that person.
That's good. Yeah.
Brought them.
Good
Remember,
idea.
we brought them in front. We'd call their name. They'd come in front and tell us a bit about yourself. Yeah, we
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
done that for a while.
Yeah. Well, we certainly didn't do it during COVID.
Yeah.
We didn't have that many
Right.
guests appearing on our Zoom calls.
Michael, you got a question?
Yeah, so I think that's a great idea. Especially I like the live thing. I'm a little bit worried about, you know, the online thing, how it's presented. Like it may be it can be presented with the best of intentions, but people may see an online forum and feel challenged or something. And it just has to be very careful about that, right?
That's a real good point. And while I was listening to these guys talk about that, I thought about that as well. Maybe something like this would be too much as an introductory, or a personal response from Elliot to a potential guest. I would think if I were to sign up for a meeting and all of a sudden I got an email saying, please fill this out before you attend. Yeah. I could see that as being detrimental. But in the thinking outside of the box, in the larger scheme of things, it might be better to have something like that handed to them at the end of the rehearsal, or as we make up their name tag, right? Hey, when you get a chance, can you fill this out for me? So
I
Good idea.
just don't want it to feel like performance reviews at work, right?
No.
Right.
Right.
So let's move on. I think we've covered this pretty well.
I think Bert
Thanks.
has his hand up.
I just wanted to say one possibility is just to make it optional. You know, it would be
Yeah.
helpful. The way I present it is I ask people whether they have any barbershop experience. Doesn't matter if you don't. You have a high voice, low voice. You know, one of the things we'll want to do is place you. It would be helpful to know. I could also refer them, you know, or if you'd like, you know, you could fill out this sheet, right, and give them the link, but it's all optional. And of course, I also asked them about the COVID, and I'm thinking of maybe I'll save that for the COVID discussion. But
All right, so we got to move along, guys. We're almost up to an hour. All right, so program, John Wamos, anything?
Okay, so
Sure.
yeah, so the only thing, you know, the scheduling of the sing-outs has been happening, but one of the things that I read just Tuesday was that the performance in Mountain View is masked. Okay, all performers have to wear masks. So anyway, even though it's outdoors and stuff, it was communicated to me in an email. This one has been interesting because Terry Moore has gotten involved in it. It's not been easy to get in touch with her and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's the only thing you know, in terms of you know, of program that I have to talk about.
And that's Monday. Have you gotten that out to the guys that will be there on Monday?
yeah,
I'm going to send it out in my message.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bert, do you have custody of our additional mask things, or is that in the shed? Because if some guys arrive on Monday and forget to bring their mask.
I have 9. Larry stole one Thursday. I have 9 masks I carry 'em around in my music bag, so they show up every Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
If you
But
want
can
them
you-
somewhere, I can put 5 in the shed and keep 5 in my bag. You tell me how you want to do it. I have a
Uh,
second question about the train thing. We're going to be singing right in people's faces. Do we need to be masked at the train?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't handled that one, so.
I am, and no, there's been no comment to me made regarding masks at the station. But I just think we should be carrying them. We got to make sure we've got them with us.
We're going to be singing right up close to people. It's going to be a packed mob scene. If you guys remember what it's like, we're going to be face to face with our guests looking right at us.
You know, are we wouldn't hand out the singer's mask to people if they forget their singer's mask. If we want to hand out masks, it should be the little cloth mask,
No, we're not talking about handing them out to public. We're talking about any of our singers that are coming to an event, unless that's what you meant, Paul.
I mean, to our singers, I mean, what are they, $60 a piece or something, or?
No.
No.
Hand out disposable masks. So somebody well, I can't, I'm not going, but if somebody brought, a couple of disposable masks, that would be good for any singers who forgot it.
Okay, so I will make sure I've got a box of them. I'll make sure I have them for the train.
Yeah.
Michael, you might want to, in your dispatch that goes out today, we just let everybody know to please make sure you bring your mask at both events or at all events, so that, because there are some considerations. You mentioned specifically for Mountain View requires it, but Caltrain, it might be prudent. So
I think maybe I'll send a second mail with that in the
I agree.
subject heading. Yeah.
The subject field should be clear, masks, bring masks to perform, or something like that.
Yeah, good idea.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Anything more, John?
Yeah, there is one thing. So the video is finished for Still the One. Okay, for those of you who participated, it is Peninsulair's virtual chorus performance. Okay, it'd be nice if you looked at it, even if you weren't able to participate in it, because it was a lot of fun to do. Anyway, and it's in terms of getting our name out in front of people and having people look at us and be interested in us, I think this is a really good thing. So,
John, is there a follow-up planned? Is there another song in the works?
that's a good question. So I don't know. There's certainly nothing definitive yet. The numbers for this one were down. There were 41 tracks submitted. There were 27 videos submitted. But there is some kind of critical mass that's necessary, and so there's a commitment, that would be needed. We had a few people who've participated in ones before who have dropped off, and so what I would ask for, if we were going to do another one, is to have some kind of communication, between both of the choruses that I'm in, that I could get some participation. So, anyway.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks, John.
Mhm.
All right, music VP report.
So I published it the other day. Nothing's changed with regard to it. A couple things that I was going to mention. One of them has already been identified, which was the Mountain View tree lighting requirement for masks that John mentioned to me last night when our quartet was out performing. We did another gig last night. It was wonderful. And the other one, just to tell you guys, is that I got a text message yesterday late in the afternoon from my primary contact at the Elks Lodge that we have been invited to sing at their December 18th party. It's later in the day. It's going to be 8:30-ish kind of a thing, maybe a 15-minute or so thing just before or around their Santa Claus arrival thing. So we talked about that a little bit at the rehearsal planning meeting with myself, Mike C, and Curtis. And so the plan is I'm going to send out an announcement to the men today saying, hey, we do now have this opportunity. Who's interested, so that we can see who might be interested and willing in participating, and whether we can deploy a chorus size group, or if we may end up needing to deploy a quartet or VLQ. That's the only addition to my report. Any questions on anything? I assume everybody had a chance to read it. Are there any questions about the report? Bert?
Bert.
So we'd probably sing on the flat floor because we couldn't roll in risers. So it'll be a chorus on a flat floor singing to these people standing in front of their stage. Is that right?
That would be correct, because they have another musical thing that's going to be occupying the stage.
Okay. So Dave, in one of your reports, you mentioned Valentine's. You want to discuss that now?
Oh, yeah. So the hope is that we're going to be able to deliver physical Valentines in 2022, like we did back in 2019. And if that's the case, then that'll be a wonderful thing. However, last year we did a lot of virtual Valentines, right? That's how we did it. And the information for that is still available, like all of this. So Vocal Capital took it upon themselves last year to record each one of our four guys doing, I guess it was 4 or 5 songs that we had as a potential offering for Valentine's. And I think we did the same thing for Mother's Day. And we packaged those individual video and audio recordings into a delivery of Singing Valentine. And so that same capability exists, because all of those video audio recordings still are on Google Drive. And if we wanted to, we could offer virtual Valentines for people who are not in easy proximity to us, and physical Valentine delivery for those people who are in our immediate geography. So that's definitely available without any additional work other than packaging it and putting whatever the purchaser's special message is to the recipient.
Great. Dave Marley.
I would ask a couple questions. Are you going to limit the virtuals to people outside of our territory? There might be some people in our territory who don't want people, coming into their home or whatever.
Yeah, but that I mean, that's not, it's like whatever we decide to do.
So
Yeah.
So on the flyer, we could then give people a choice of in-person. And my suggestion, in the past, we've charged $75 for an in-person Valentine. And I think last year you charged $20 for virtual.
Yeah, I think we can up that this year,
Yeah.
But and we can put down, we could have a choice of like 3 or 4 or 5 songs. Pick the 2 that you want. Because I don't remember how many we had. John Wanless, you might remember how many we had. I think we had at least 4 songs, maybe 5 songs that they could choose from. Yeah. So we could pick 2 of these 5 songs as a delivery for your person.
On the virtual, but not necessarily
on the virtual. On the virtual.
So we would have to be pretty clear on the flyer, make it easy for them to order. The question in my mind is, if I had a choice of paying $75 for an in-person, or let's pick a number, $30 for virtual, I'm not, I don't want to. What would I choose?
Yeah.
So you might make it up in quantity, though. I mean, you can't, that's a binary decision, and it's not necessarily that.
Yeah.
What we found that people who are both outside the area and then people who are reluctant to have Or you couldn't, you couldn't, were the people who ordered that. There will be some people who opt for in person, no matter what, because it's better, so.
We had virtual deliveries last year for people as far away as Massachusetts, Ohio, Florida. I mean, it was cool.
I think we should give people a choice and see what happens, and I would propose 75 for in-person and 30 for virtual, something like that.
Should we make a decision on that now? Or do
That
we?
sounds reasonable to me, price wise.
Okay,
I mean,
so,
yes, 75, 30. That's good.
so do we need to vote on that?
I think it's just a decision, isn't it?
It's just a decision, right? Okay, so that's a decision. Dave, is that okay for you in the budget?
Yeah, I would probably increase the budget line item a little, is hoping that some people will order a in person.
I think that if it's available, because COVID hasn't slammed us, again, I think more people would be very interested in doing that, because the virtual thing has got folks tired. They're tired of virtual this and
Right.
virtual that.
Yeah.
If you can have somebody, a real person that you can see and hear and touch, it just, it's going to be more of a special thing than, oh honey, we got to hear, just watch this online. We've been doing that for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, well, thanks, Dave. Any other music questions?
The question then, Larry, where's Larry? Yeah, Larry, we need to work on a flyer for that. And I also need to have a volunteer to do the cards like we've done in the past. John Woolridge has done the cards in the past. I don't know that he's available anymore.
Right.
Elliot, you should consider putting that on Meetup and on Facebook and all of the social media that we have this thing Valentine's. So, because it is a meetup, actually. Well, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
One last thing on that, Mike C. You had mentioned something during our meeting, planning meeting, that there are something like 6 or 7 quartets that either are formed or in the process of forming that have a Peninsular member in it. I'm thinking we need to solidify who might be able to perform singing Valentines and start planning for that, because it's going to come upon us very quickly.
Mike, are you
That's-
okay with that?
Yeah, makes a ton of sense to me.
Okay. Great, so that concludes our formal reports. Do I hear a motion to,
And before you vote, can I say one thing? If we're gonna form quartets to provide singing Valentines, they have to be a quartet that we are happy with going out into the public. So they should sing for the chorus before they go out.
Yeah, 100%. I'm assuming there's a some sort of like Curtis and I listen and like check a quality bar.
Exactly.
Cool.
good, okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the reports as delivered?
Move to accept as delivered.
Second? Elliot, all in favor, raise your hand. All right, we're done with that. Thank you, guys. Moving along, old business actually wanted to cover the awards, the 2022 awards banquet planning. And on Thursday, I proposed that we, or actually I asked if everyone would be in approval of going inside to a restaurant, as we've done in the past, and I didn't see any objections. Is that what your recollection is, Guy? Okay.
Harry, do you
So-
have any thoughts about that?
It's just a little hard for me to say for sure because I don't know what the space looks like, you know, how small it is, and I think I would be comfortable. I'm not sure my wife would be, frankly. I
Yeah.
haven't talked to her about it yet, so.
To give you some space, to give you some spatial expectation, if you take the width of what, you know, that there's that tile on the floor at the Elks, you know, that runs from the sliding glass doors into just past the stage. And you take that slot from the stage, from the front of the stage to the back of the room, that's approximately the dimension of the place where we've done this in the past at Don Giovanni's.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I might even go by and just check it out myself. Too.
Yeah, they have a special, they have a side room that we use at Don Giovanni's, that not in the main restaurant, but there's a secondary room that we've used in the past.
So that room would be just for us.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would be, exactly.
Yeah, so. Okay.
So, well, I took the liberty of actually reserving that room
Oh, good.
yesterday for us, so we've got that. And we can make our decision on the numbers by the 18th of January. So we have the same kind of menu as we had last time. The price has gone up to 35 from 30. I thought that was pretty reasonable increase over the 2-year period.
Historically, we've had the members pay for themselves and their guests as opposed to it coming out of the chapter budget too.
Yes,
And-
we would pay for the presenter, anybody from district that we would invite for their.
We usually add I mean, if they're charging 35, we would charge the members 40. We cover some of the cost of the awards and also for the guests that we're inviting.
Okay, good point.
Do,
So
do
noted.
people order wine separately?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's no
yeah,
host
there's a-
bar.
No host bar, correct. So is everybody okay with at least moving ahead with that unless there's a snag? Any
Yes,
objections? Okay, so we'll go ahead with that. All right. I've asked Greg Kosovich if he would be interested in joining our board, and he said no, he would not. He'd be interested, but he really can't swing it this next year. And so I'm still looking for people that we could nominate from the VIH group of guys that have joined us to be on our board. If anybody's got a suggestion, I'd be open to hearing it.
Dana, didn't we talk about, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to say why it might not, it might be a challenge, but we talked about didn't we talk about the possibility of Rich Postal? But then he's got the position with the society, and I don't know if that complicates his situation at all, being on a board of a particular chapter while being VP for the this division.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't.
I'll ask him. I'll ask him if there's a conflict there.
Yeah.
So, okay, Paul.
You're muted, Paul.
You could bring it up at the next meeting, just see if any VIH, ex-VIH members are interested. Mark Torrance seemed to have some interest.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that. All
Not,
right.
he was not a member of VIH, I believe.
I don't
Oh,
know.
Mark?
He just came back. He
He's,
just came back and joined us when we started rehearsing at the beginning of the summer.
Right,
So
so
technically, he has been a member of VIH.
He has been a member of VIH in the past,
Right.
but I hadn't seen him for as long as I had both sung or directed the chorus. So I think it had been a few years.
Okay,
Yeah, what he
Cool.
mentioned to me was that his membership with BHS lapsed. So he needs to get back in. So officially, yeah, so I guess he hasn't, it wouldn't be a transfer in his case.
Okay, thanks, guys. The next item is status of discussions with Curtis and Mike C. about co-director options. The last time we talked, it was up in the air still. So Dave K., what was your recollection of where we're at?
I think that since our conversation with the board last month, that things have pretty much unfolded in the direction of an obvious collaborative structure with Curtis and Mike. Mike had, as we recall, had to be in Ohio for a couple of weeks on family scenarios, and Curtis had led the group. And then this past Thursday, they were doing the the cage match tag team sort of thing. That was kind of
That
fun.
was great.
And I do think that's going to be a great theme for a spring show. But so I don't, it seems that there's understanding amongst the members, and there seems to be full acceptance. I didn't see any or hear any anything contrary, negative in any way, shape, or form relative to this. So I think we're moving in that direction, and I think we've got a plan in the budget to deal with that, because the guys were saying whatever the arrangement is, that split it and that sort of thing. So I think we're good.
Yeah,
Great.
I don't know what there is to talk about. It seems to be working fine. And I don't know what we need to do other than that.
Well, I
there's money.
think there's
Money to
there's
talk
money,
about.
but there's the contract that so Mike C. has a contract with us right now, so we would have to, tweak that and then have a similar contract with Curtis,
Right.
right? So can we do
And-
that offline or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm looking, and I'm trying to remember, I think I have a copy in front of me. The date of that was February 2022, February 3, 2020 is when it was executed the first time. We just, I don't know if, I'm going to ask the question. Curtis, have you seen the documentation that we had with Mike C?
I
No.
do not believe I have.
Okay,
And-
so with Mike, with your permission, could I share that with Curtis?
Yeah, fine with that.
Okay, so I will do that, and then we'll see if there's any, other than the way we'll see if there's any adjustments that need to be made. And Dana, I will volunteer to collaborate with Curtis and Mike just to take it off of your plate to make sure that everything's in alignment, and then present that to the board, even as an interim communication between now and the first of the year.
Great, thank you, Dave. Appreciate that.
Yeah, real quick, speaking for Curtis and me, I think our goal is to just get it kind of done and formalized as quickly as possible. Operationally, we're in a groove. We're seeing the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So it's just getting the details hammered out, so Curtis gets what he's due, as decided.
Right.
Great.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike and Curtis, for being patient with us. All right, so let's move on to new business then, and that's the awards decisions. And so the board has two to participate in, the board award and the Rookie of the Year award. I believe. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the other awards that are taken care of by others are Barber Shopper of the Year, and the team has already made that selection. And that'll be disclosed at the banquet. The President's Award, which is one that I'm responsible for as well. So how about the Board Award? Do I have some suggestions?
I think that one of the things that we try to do every year is have somebody, which is oftentimes Bert, give us a refresher as to what does, it's either Bert or Dave Morley that gives us a refresher as to what exactly does that mean? What is the characteristics of the individual that we're looking for?
From a board award, who helped the board the most this year? Who helped move the chapter forward? Anything the board wants to reward somebody for behavior and service in moving the chapter forward.
That is not currently a member of the board.
No,
You can have anybody. You can have a board member. You
Yeah.
can do anything you want. It's your award. You can do anything you want to it.
exactly. No, it can be a member of the board.
Okay.
It could even be a non-chapter member. We've done that before too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So any ideas or any nominations?
So yeah, so I think Mark Tavry would be a good one. He does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I mean, granted that he's got his kids to think about and stuff like that, but on the other hand, the collaboration with Larry, on the website and some of the technical stuff that he's collaborated with, Blez on. So that would be my thought.
I would suggest Blez, because he kept us going during the pandemic. And we wouldn't be as strong a chapter now if Blez hadn't done all of the technical stuff with the track wrangler and everything.
Bert, who did we give this to last year?
Just a minute, I've got the stuff up here. Let's see, last year the board award went to me. The President's Award went to Bunting. I'll read the board award for the last couple of years. So it was me last year. In 2019, it was Bob Howd. In 2018, it was Blumenthal and Dana Chase. The President's Award last year went to Bunting. The year before was Sherman. The year before that was Howd and Morley. And don't forget you had a merge with the VIH and that sort of thing. That was a major change of the chapter too. So maybe somebody was responsible for that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Well, I'm going to say that as far as 2021, the first half of the year was totally virtual. The second half of the year, we managed to get back together again, right? And so it's almost like there were 2 different years worth of action that had to take place in 2021. The 2 people whose names were mentioned earlier certainly helped us get through the first 6 months of 2021. And then we have the second 6 months of 2021 that, that we may want to think about as, because I don't know that there's any reason why the board couldn't give its award to more than one person.
It has
Right.
happened.
So I don't have any, that's just a thought that comes to mind. Any conversation about that?
Paul?
I'd like to nominate to someone who does so much. Larry, he never sits down. He's doing the lighting, he's doing this, he's doing that. I'd like to put his name on.
Okay, so that makes sense. As for the second half guy, that speaks well. Mike O?
Yeah, so I don't know if this is in order or not, and it's certainly not something you'd want to do on a regular basis, but I have to say that Mike C has just, done amazing things, keeping the group together, pulling artistry out of it, making me a much better singer, I think. And so, as obviously this is kind of like, it sounds so political you make it the director, but on the other hand, I think that it's worth recognizing the amazing things he's done.
Good point.
Larry.
Larry?
Mike C, can you leave the room for about 3 minutes? Just kidding. I'm kind of feeling the same way as Mike O and Dave's idea. We had this guy that really kept us moving along during online rehearsals every week, coming up with a fun plan, bringing in people from around the society for presentations. And then we got back in person, and this guy just kept us going. I think his name is Mike something.
Mike Oliver?
No, it's another guy. Another guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna nominate our
Okay.
our 2021 director, Mike Cady.
You also got a rookie award.
Yeah,
That's true.
well, we do have a rookie that was discussed earlier for membership. I don't know.
So
if you
where are
call-
we on this? Are we thinking in terms of first half, second half, so therefore there's two, or are we thinking of a single? I mean, I'm just trying to, not that,
Yeah,
so we know what we're doing here.
My feeling on multiples on an award kind of reminds me of my sporting life, and we hear about it all the time. It's like, oh well, thanks for showing up. Everybody gets an award. I just prefer. I would just prefer that we don't do co-awardships. Let's pick a guy on these individuals and individual awards and go forward. So
Dave Morley?
I would agree with Larry. Mike C has really done well. So, and I agree, we're singing better because of him. So I'm all, and he has certainly carried us from the first half to the second half. So.
Okay, cool.
so do I hear a motion?
I move.
Elliot,
There is a motion on the floor already. Didn't Paul Fudenthal make a motion?
I don't remember.
No, I don't. I think.
no, he made a nomination.
He made a nomination. Oh, right. Okay, thank you. Forgive me for the interruption. Elliot?
Yeah, so I was moving to give Mike Cady the board award.
do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Dave Morley, any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. All right.
So that'll be a surprise award at the
Surprise award, 'cause he wasn't
installation.
Wasn't listening.
Tears.
Yeah.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, exactly.
Big sigh and tears.
Or
Okay,
a
well, that's
riot
great.
because you did it.
Work those performance skills, Mike.
Hey, Bert, did you get your answer from Dave Morley on the question about costs
No.
on the engraving?
No.
Dave Morley, look in the chat.
Oh,
But that was for the board award, right? We still have to do the rookie award.
Correct.
Yeah, next is the rookie award. And
So for the
so,
rookie award, typically you look at the last 2 years because rookies come and go. So you use the last 2 years as a criteria for rookie. It's not just this year. So you can go back a year and look for the last 2 years of rookie.
So who do we have in the Peninsulares that fit the that categorization, Bert?
No idea. Probably ask the membership guy.
Elliot,
Who's a rookie?
I'd
Well,
have,
there's Shiv, right?
well, yeah,
No.
I mean, Shiv is the first.
but
one.
he's not a member. He just became a member this
Right.
afternoon.
Okay, so he's not qualified. Next year. he
Well,
will
I
be.
don't know. I don't know. You guys could bend
We could
this
do
any way
whatever
you
we want,
to.
but I think we need to look at who's been an active member of our organization for the last 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
So
12 to
I have a
18 months.
question. I have a question. Do they need to be a barbershop rookie?
No.
In other words, is it a Peninsulares rookie or a
Hmm.
barbershop rookie?
Good question. We've never
Because,
had that problem before.
yeah, like, so for example, Matt, for example, became a member earlier than most of the batch, and he was with us through a good part of the virtual era.
You've got somebody like Rich Postal too, who's been contributing significantly to the bases and his work with the society.
But neither of
That
them.
would be kind of funny to get Rich Rookie of the Year.
So,
Yeah,
That
it
would
might
be
be
pretty
interesting.
fantastic.
so Elliot, who have we voted in as members in the last 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I'm not sure I have that right at my disposal now. Let me I don't have an easy record of that. I'd have to scroll through.
Just look through the names. Current names.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Peter Anderson.
Peter Anderson, yeah. thank you.
We talked about Matt. I'm just looking at the roster real quick.
Yeah, that's what
Is it, where's Mike O on the list? When did you join, Mike?
Did we just lose him?
We lost him.
Quick,
And then
answer the
Jerry-
question then.
How about Jerry
Oh,
Toad?
Jerry, yeah, Jerry.
Jerry Toads.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry Totes. He's been,
Yeah, because he came on just
came on-
before we did
Yeah.
16 tons.
yeah, he came on from,
Yeah,
SoCal.
During virtual.
yeah, during virtual. I can't remember how we got him or how he found us. I don't remember.
PCVC.
Was it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Or virtual course, yeah.
I'll throw out the name Greg K.
Greg? Okay.
Greg Kostovich. For helping so much with the migration.
Yeah, but he's not yet a member of the Peninsulares.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
the cat-
But I, so I don't know if that,
Sure.
The cat jostled my power cord and I had to restart. What have we come up with?
the question that was asked,
Dog
when
ate
did
my homework.
when did you join, Mike? When was your official start date?
Oh, gosh, I don't remember, but I was in the Peninsulares in 1986.
Okay.
You can
So
be
you're-
rookie twice.
You're a rookie twice.
I like the Jerry Totes idea.
I do
Yeah,
too.
I did.
I do too.
him the most.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do
Yeah.
too. I really like that one.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
a
do
good one.
too. I'd like to make a motion to Jerry Totes be Rookie of the Year.
I'll
I
second that.
Oh, Larry, we'll give that to Larry because it was his idea originally. Larry
Yeah.
seconds.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Jerry Totes is our rookie.
Nice.
Yay.
God, it's so nice when things come together quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Next item is actually Elliot brought up the question about the COVID protocol. Should we make any changes to it?
Harry?
Well, specifically, what is our current protocol exactly?
Yeah, so our current protocol, the very first point says all present must wear masks. clearly, that is not happening. So it just doesn't seem very credible. And I think it just kind of blows the whole thing out there. So we could kind of express the new policy, which seems to be that they're optional. We could also go on to explain the same way, we explain the 6-foot distancing on the risers. We could explain that people who are concerned or who choose to wear masks could be on the last row of the risers, stuff like that. So that was one item that I thought we should update. And then another item is the protocol is very explicit about it being Moderna, J&J, or Pfizer. And so last night, for example, Harsha had the, I forget what it's called,
Covax, I think.
Covaxin,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Which was just approved by WHO and is now one of the accepted. It's recognized as providing immunity by the CDC. I discussed it with Harry and we felt, that was fine. But I guess the reason he asked me was because he saw in the policy that it was mentioned. So we may want to broaden that.
Yeah, it can be a problem of being too specific, of putting it in writing with too specific, and then exceptions come up like this. Maybe some broad statement that our policy should always be in accordance with guidelines of Santa Clara County and other authorities, because of the specifics might change if like this, if
What's the status of
specific vaccines and get down to that level of
what's the status of AstraZeneca and Sinovac?
Yeah, I think it would maybe just saying something like what people must be fully vaccinated as defined by government agencies and Santa Clara County authorities. That may change over time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Harry, is there a difference between what the CDC and the FDA are saying?
Well, the FDA, approves vaccines, and then the CDC and the state and county authorities are actually the ones that issue guidelines. So
we should say CDC and California.
I guess CDC, state of California, and Santa Clara County.
Okay.
Well, so would the state of California or
County
come
up with a more restrictive list?
Yeah, I guess the county would really take precedence because that's where we are, and they might.
So I guess with Elliot, it's just a question of checking what the current information is on the county site, because they update that regularly. I've checked it a number of times. And
well, the county, Dave, isn't the county give permission for singers not to have masks on?
Correct.
The county
So
says
no.
it's okay when you're rehearsing or when you're performing indoors.
And we really haven't
not
been
wear masks, but it says when other than that you should be wearing a mask. So we've been sort of
I haven't seen
skirting
everybody
the
put on their
edge.
masks immediately when we're in a business
Right.
meeting, for example. And I don't know, that decision doesn't make a lot of sense scientifically or medically. I imagine the county was under pressure from performing groups, and there's a political aspect to that too. But
Yeah.
whatever it makes sense or not, I guess primarily we need to abide by county guidelines, because that's where we live. Or that's where the Peninsulaires live, at the Elks Lodge. So that's our primary source. And I guess I don't know what the state says, or if the state says anything about singers. but Santa Clara County may be more lenient in that specific area than the state or the CDC, if they've even addressed that. I don't know.
So Harry, would you be willing to kind of collaborate with Elliot to come up with
Sure.
verbiage that would make sense?
Yeah.
Great.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, VIH library, music library. There's been some emails floating around, one from Rich Postal. And I thought that actually Rich was handling the checking with VHS on what the protocol would be for that library. But his latest email doesn't indicate that.
I believe Greg was the last person who was checking on that, and I don't have information on that at the moment. As I said, we do have a meeting on Tuesday night.
Could you clarify that, Curtis, on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rich told me not to worry, he was going to handle all of this for us. Great. Okay, so if we can get that clarified. There's a bunch of music that one of the VIH guys has stored in his garage he wants to get rid of. So if we can resolve that Tuesday, that would be great too. Dave K.
Dana, you just mentioned something that raised a thought in my head that I wanted to ask the board about late already, but I haven't done it. And that is, we do have a substantial number, I think 2 file cabinets full of physical sheet music at the Elks facilities. I don't know yet, haven't looked to see how much of that music, how many of those may have already been scanned and digitized. Do we make sure that we digitize all of that stuff and then shred all the physical copies, or do we keep all the physical copies? And what should we do? Any input on that from anybody?
Bert, what's your view?
Dave Weatherford and his wife organized that cabinet. It's a little bit out of order now, but it's generally in order with a whole bunches of folders of music. Probably some of it's older than dirt. So I'm not sure about what we do about that stuff. I could clearly take one sheet of each of the folders and go ahead and scan them. Up to you guys. I'm not sure what the intellectual property rules are and that sort of stuff. It would be stuff we bought, so we would have license for it, I do presume, because Dave was very careful about that sort of behavior of buying music. So we probably own all the stuff we own a license to perform. I don't know how many licenses we have to actually give that stuff out. And I don't know what the relationship between that, scanning it and putting it on Groupanizer is.
Yeah, real quick, I did this for DMC. They had a similar problem with, a similar library in terms of the music. What we decided up there was to count the number of sheets in the cabinet and to set that as the value, to scan it, to put it into Groupanizer, and to set the number of licenses we have to the number of sheets, then destroy the sheets. To do it officially, to do it cleanly, you should take a photo of the of the entire number of books so you can just count them. But like that was what we concluded up at DMC. The number of licenses is the literal number of sheets you have in the filing cabinet, because that's the number that's clearly purchased.
So with respect to that, Bert, if you look at the listing that Dave that Dave Weatherford and his wife created, they have the number of copies that were in the folder at that time. So we should have a representation of the number of copies of the music that were present in the file cabinet. That does not necessarily mean that's the total number, because I know for me, for instance, I have never returned any of the music that we're no longer singing. I just like, it's my binder keeps getting bigger because I don't know why. I just never turned it back in again. So just, just to know.
So does that make the assumption that every sheet of music in a folder has some kind of a stamp on it that says this is a legal license, or did he just copy it, copy the music, and so we don't really know how many were actually licensed? I'm going to take the assumption that the list we have is the number, and that's it. I don't have to go through all the folders.
I would suggest that, because in just spot checking the file cabinets, like I've done for looking for a particular piece of music, they are either the smaller, the full 8.5 by 11 sheets, not photocopied, or the smaller ones that have the BHS logo on the front, or whatever, the half-page size ones. So I think your suggestion is accurate and would be appropriate and reasonable to assume that that's the number of copies.
Does that mean I get to Xerox one copy and hand it to Mark or somebody, Mark Tabry, to put up on Groupanizer? Is that the kind of what you'd like to do with this stuff?
I'd say scan them and then, have them given either Mark or me.
So
to,
the other
get 'em
alternative is
upstairs.
I resign as interim librarian and let somebody else do this. I knew there was a reason. I knew there was a reason for the interim part of my title.
I'll take that under advisement.
Hey, Bert, you can send paper to be scanned for a pretty cheap it's a pretty cheap cost. They're
That
online
still means
services
I got to
do
go
that.
through that folder and pull them out to do that. What's the difference? Remember, I'm interim, guys. Interim.
I move that we remove the interim label.
If nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve.
Hey, Bert, I'll help you shred. I'll take the job of getting the stuff shredded after you're finished.
I'll take some folders home every week from the file cabinet if you guys get the risers out, because you can't get in there with the risers.
No, they're not in there with the risers. They're actually
in the other cabinet.
In the other cabinet, in the other little storage
Oh,
area.
great! I could live in there with the mice. Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, there's only gardening equipment blocking the file cabinets and mice, and yeah.
Hey, quite seriously, there is value in those sheets, because I know I'm always looking through like old arrangements for stuff that hasn't shown up on the contest stage in a while. And some of those old arrangements, like Earl Moon, Val Hicks, like some of those old arrangements are just absolutely gorgeous. So there is gold in them there, Hills.
Well, we have that listing, Mike C, in a PDF document that names the item, and I believe the arranger for everything that's in our library.
Yeah,
if that helps you.
In many cases, those predate my experience with barbershop, so I don't even know the arrangements. It's hard to find recordings of them too.
Yeah,
so having to see the sheet and plunk it out to see what it sounds like.
Cool.
I'm wondering if
does any music go with all the tracks that we bought for the learning tracks? Did any music go with that stuff?
There are some.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how many.
Is that another piece of thing that we got to deal with?
No, I have all of the tracks on a on a drive, and we just haven't loaded them all up to Groupanizer yet.
Are there charts to go with each track?
Negative. There's just the tracks. There were no charts along with the tracks. Mike, this is Mike C. This and Curtis for that. We had Sean Gavin Thomas. We bought a library of Sean Gavin Thomas tracks. There's hundreds of them. We got them for a really inexpensive
I'm familiar
amount of money.
with that. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I'm just wondering if Groupanizer is really the right place to store these digitized files.
Well, I can tell you, Larry, that there are files up on Groupanizer in the documents section that are tracks and charts for songs that the Peninsulaires had prior to us going to Groupanizer. They were on the website, and they are not visible to anybody there's just a couple of people to whom those are visible. So there's got to be a way of getting this stuff up there so it's not just easily downloadable by other people, so that we don't run into the potential, which I think you're thinking of in terms of copyright visibility or violation of like having 1,000 people download a copy of music for which we only had 50 licenses or something like that.
Exactly.
Does Groupanizer track the number of licenses?
I don't know the answer to that. I think it's supposed to, but I don't know if we've activated that. Elliot, do you know?
You're on mute, Elliot.
No, I was saying, sorry, can you repeat that? Something just. came
Does
up.
the question was whether or not Groupanizer tracks the number of downloads of a particular sheet of music, because when we get a license, we have a license for a certain number of copies of the music. And so does Groupanizer track that? And I said, I thought it might, but I don't know if we've activated that.
I have no idea. And I'm not even sure how I go. I'd have to research it. And I don't even know who the authority is on Groupanizer.
Sort of Mark
next
Tabry,
question
he's
is,
kind of our guy.
Does Groupanizer have backups for all our stuff if they get hacked? Do we have any kind of backup for Groupanizer, all this stuff on Groupanizer?
Curtis, you've just had some interaction with the Groupanizer people relative to the VIH library. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Having a meeting on Tuesday.
This is a busy day Tuesday.
There'll be a lot of questions. Yeah, no, I have not. I'm waiting for some information back.
So kind of Bert, to your question as to whether or not Groupanizer has a backup copy of all of the material that we have on Groupanizer, it sounds like it's a maybe, but not necessarily a definitive. I think that was the level of the question, Curtis, not whether or not your stuff was up there, but the VIH stuff was up there, but whether or not if something occurs, are we able to get our tracks and charts off of Groupanizer if necessary?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what we were doing is going to directly answer that, because what we were trying to ask was if we could do a mass download of everything at once rather than having to like pull each individual file. And so and that's a slightly different question about than whether or not they have a backup somewhere.
Okay.
Does somebody like Tabry, who has a bunch of discs or Blaze, should we back all our stuff, all our music stuff up at least into somebody else's drive just for the hell of it?
Well, we do have, the course does have a Google suite where I've been archiving some things, and they're not accessible to anybody but Blez and I at this point. Because I mean, I have my own archives, historical archives on a separate drive here at home, but I've also tossed a few things into the Google Drive. So that might be a good option for a backup.
So I think that's something that we ought to have a conversation on that would tie to the music team and maybe our president relative to how we should address the question of our material that's stored on Groupanizer for purposes of you know,
Backup.
Backup. Yeah, we need contingency planning is not a bad idea.
Okay, good. I'll help with that.
Dave Morley
All right.
has his hand up.
Dave.
Dana, there's one more thing that we deferred till the end of the meeting, and that is the budget. I'm I think, Dave K., I'm still waiting for a couple items from you.
Yeah,
So I guess we could defer the approval of the budget till the first meeting in January.
Yeah, why don't we do that to make sure we've got it right?
Okay,
okay,
And that would be the 8th of January.
okay,
okay.
all right.
Great, thanks. All right, well, I think we're done with our
Paul
agenda.
Paul
Paul?
Frudenthal has his hand up.
What was decided about barber shopper of the year? We didn't do anything.
No, we don't have to do anything. It's
You know,
the
that's-
three
that's
people
kind of a-
who were last voted as barber shopper of the year decide who the next barber shopper of the year is.
Yeah, that's secret until the installation event.
And the same thing with the President's Award on that. So, okay.
The same thing with the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So Dana, are you going to make up a program for the installation dinner with this sort of stuff? And would you like anything? So we've sometimes put on the back page a list of previous awards. Are you going to make up a little program for the installation?
Yes, yes, I am. Yeah, I'll do that.
Well, let me know if you need anything from me.
No, and I will give you the name of the President's Award after this meeting.
Who's gonna be the guy that MCs it?
That'll be Rich Postal.
Oh,
No, there's a difference between the
Well,
MC
yeah.
and the installation officer. Dana is
installing
the
officer.
MC.
Yeah, I'll be the MC, but then Rich will be the installation officer.
Yeah, he's our district vice president, I think,
Oh.
right? Or
Yeah.
division VP or whatever it's officially.
All right, well, we're almost done, guys. So good of the order. Going to start out with Bert.
So I had two things, actually. Number one was, you've already mentioned it, the Curtis and Mike tag team for the last rehearsal was just absolutely fabulous. You guys did such good work, and it really lightened the mood while guys did their thing. And I really appreciate having two sets of ears, two sets of really talented ears, listening to our performance and giving us different takes on musical performance. So I thought that was really great. The other thing was, I got this thing once, I hope it's right side up for you, but it's a pitch pipe, and notice the bottom, it's got an engraved plate on it. I got that as an award, either as Barbershop of the Quarter or one of the other awards. And I'm wondering if you guys would like to award something like this to something like the Rookie and the other people instead of a plaque, something that they could actually use and remember. I'm done.
Or we could give it to new members.
That's
Well,
how
new
I got
members.
mine.
Yeah,
A new
exactly.
member, as a new member, when I became a new member, I got this.
Exactly. So that's something I would think an award either for one of our standard awards or for the new members or something. I think that would be a very valuable thing that they would really remember. I'm done.
We're gonna give them one that looks like the Chinese throwing star though, because that's
Give them the Tombo one. The Tombo one,
Tombo is, yeah, that they last longer.
much better.
So Dave, you can put that in our budget, right?
That goes into Paul Frudenthal's budget, or no, that goes into Elliot's budget.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
I don't have-
Okay. Dave Marley. Good of the
Just
order.
that I'm enjoying singing. I mean, it's really terrific. I'm glad we're growing. I'm glad we made it through the pandemic. There are many choruses that have not, or some choruses, that have not. And here we are, blossoming. It's really a tribute to everybody here today that has worked to keep us going, and it's great. Fine.
Thanks, Dave Marley. Harry.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm really happy of where we are as a chorus, and excited about all the fun things that are happening at this time of year. Really looking forward to Vocal Capital coming to Congregation Beth David tomorrow at our Hanukkah party. So that's really going to be a lot of fun, and want to wish Paul and Elliot Chag Sameach. And then, of course, we got all the Christmas activities coming up. I'll be at my first Christmas tree lighting ceremony in Mountain View. So what's that phrase? It's a wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Harry. John Wanless.
Yeah, I totally agree with Harry. So it is a wonderful time of the year. It's great to have, all the activities. It's great that we're able to do these things. It's been, I've missed going out and seeing people and, having audiences and singing for them. And it's nice when the chorus seems to be on an upswing. It's just great. So that's it.
Thank you, John. Paul.
Well, we had some discussion in the beginning about the combining with VAH, how it would work, and it's just happened very nicely, and I agree with what's been said. It's such a pleasure to have a big sound and all these wonderful voices, and so yeah, it's going real well, and it's nice to sing. It's nice to sing in the group.
Thanks, Paul. Dave K.
So we've this last couple of weeks has been a tremendous amount of fun for me personally when it comes to barber shopping, because my quartet has delivered 4 holiday performances, and then we've got a Hanukkah performance coming up tomorrow, and then we've got all the stuff that the chorus is doing starting tonight. And this has just been a lot of outdoors with tons of people delivering our style of music that has been extremely well received. So I'm really having a blast right now, more so than I have had in quite some time. So I'm loving it. And I also am going to echo Bert's comments about how things are going with the collaboration of Mike and Curtis.
Thanks, Dave. So Bruce, you have something you want to share? Can you get yourself
You're
unmuted?
muted, Bruce.
Press
He's
the
trying to
space
unmute.
bar. Press
the space.
space bar.
There you go. Nope.
No, not yet. Press the space bar.
For me, it's Alt A.
Hold it. Hold it down.
No, you're not unmuting there, Bruce. Is
Maybe
it in
Dana can unmute
it's
him
in
as
your
host.
headset? Do you have a thing on your headset to
No,
mute your
no,
headset?
it's on Zoom. He has the little red thing through the mic.
His Zoom window might not be in focus, in which case hitting the space bar wouldn't.
Whoever's hosting the meeting can
That's
unmute
okay.
it.
You can catch us next time.
Can you unmute him, Dana, as host?
No,
Okay.
I just ask him to. I can ask him to unmute.
All right. Anyway, moving
Oh,
on.
well. Yeah. Okay, Mike C.
All right. I'm really
Oh, he's
enjoying-
unmuted.
He's
All right, go for it.
unmuted.
Go, Bruce.
Oh,
Now his
well,
mic
now we're not
doesn't work.
hearing him.
No, we're not hearing him. He doesn't have a mic.
That's okay. You can share with us next rehearsal. Mike C.
All right. I'm really appreciating the feedback, the positive feedback about Curtis's Maya interaction. It feels really good down front. Curtis and I spend about an hour each week debriefing on the rehearsal, making sure that we're dialed in and on what the goals are, what we were hearing, stuff like that. I'm really feeling like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And the surprise for me is it is an absolute treat to sing some of the rehearsal and direct some of the rehearsal. It's awesome being up with the guys and hearing it, and it's just a really awesome experience so far. I wanted to remind folks that we are within spitting distance of 40 guys on the risers. I think Elliot's note about it feels like 30 plus. It feel like with the sound we're making and with the number of guys that I've been talking with about like, hey, when are you coming back and stuff like that, I feel like we're in spitting distance of 40. So I really encourage Larry and Elliot to make that really strong recruiting push in January. I would love to see 40 guys on the risers at contest in May. Let's see. One quick note, Bay Area Showcase did sent me a donation for our portion of the World Singing Day donations from October in the amount of $40. So I will get that to Dave Morley, and like that'll completely change the budget, I'm sure. I'm really excited about the experience right now. I'm so glad to see new faces on the risers, be singing with some old friends. It's a fantastic time to be a Peninsulaire. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Mike O, you're next.
Yeah, so Mike just stole my line there, but yeah, I also
about the $40?
No. About it's an exciting time to be a Peninsulaire. That's exactly the way I feel, and I have nothing different really to say from anybody else. I'm just I'm having a great time.
Thanks, Mike O. Elliot.
Yeah, I don't have anything I mean, I came in with 3 thoughts and they've all been mentioned, but one of them, like, yeah, exciting time, the combination of singing with VIH, bigger, better sound, and our new guests. I love the co-directorship. I think it's working out really well, at least from a chorus member perspective. I really appreciate it. And I also like what we're doing with the holiday tunes, in the sense that I feel more attached to each show. And I also see in the past, we'd have a few rehearsals with our black books, and then there'd be 1 or 2 things we'd go out to, and you either made it or you didn't make it. And now they feel more like shows. And I also like the variety of, the idea of having some chorus tunes and VLQs and quartets and figuring it all out and giving feedback. And, I just think it's just been, I think, a very productive period, as opposed to something we just kind of go through normally. So that was my last thought.
Thanks, Elliot. Curtis.
Hey guys, I'm loving the collaboration. I got to tell you, Mike, I am loving our hour-long conversations every Friday. They mean so much to me to have that chance to debrief and talk about things that happened in rehearsal on musically, and what's going to happen next. So that's really exciting to me. And more than anything, I have to share that I am so excited about the next 3 performances, because I do the barbershopping and I also teach music. December often has in the past was, I've got like 15, I think the most I had was 12 performances between December 1st and like December 18th. And last year that went to 0. And it didn't hit me how much that hurt until suddenly it was December 20th or December 2nd. And I looked at my calendar and there was no performances. And to have these 3 holiday performances coming up, and then another performance next weekend, and then I get my high schooler and middle schoolers back a week after that. This season has meant so much to me. So I'm really grateful for being able to take part in that.
Thank you, Curtis. We're grateful for you too. Larry.
You save me till last on purpose, don't you, Dana?
Yeah, they're at the bottom of my screen.
Thank you. I'm gonna borrow a phrase that I've been hearing for several weeks now. Curtis, It's great to be a barbershopper, isn't it? It really is. Man, the sound, the feel, you know, I pushed for a plan, a better plan for our rehearsals. But the last couple of rehearsals we've had, it's the flow and it's fun. Yeah, it's just, I'm having a ball, and I love what the changes. One last little quick, we sang a lot on Thursday night, right? There's one particular segment where we nailed Winter Wonderland. Enough so that I captured just the audio of it so I can do a mix on it because it sounded amazing. It sounds amazing. And wow, when I get goosebumps at rehearsal. I get goosebumps now talking about this. And I got goosebumps Thursday night when I stayed up until 3 o'clock working through these videos. It's great to be a barbershopper, especially with you guys.
Larry, send
Thanks.
us that track. I'd love to hear that.
It'll be a bit.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not-
no worries.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it's on the video, so you'll probably find it too, Mike, when you review it.
Yep.
I'm gonna play with it. I'm gonna try to mix it and maybe add some effect. We'll see.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Larry. I want to express my heartfelt thanks to each one of you guys on the board. You are committing to doing everything that's needed to meet my expectations and exceed them. You're a wonderful board to have. And I just love the energy level. You know, when I come to rehearsals, I'm usually tired from the day and maybe a little bit down. But boy, when I leave, my energy level is way up. When I come home, my wife says, "Wow, something happened at rehearsal today, didn't it?" I said, "Yeah, I got a real dose of positive energy and a lot of joy." So thank you, each one of you, and all my brothers and the VIH brothers as well for that. Okay. And with that, I'm going to call this meeting done.
Very cool. Okay, everyone, have a great rest of your weekend. See you
Yes.
all Thursday. Well, see some of you tonight.
See you in a
some of you
couple
tonight.
hours.